Thank you so much for such a good introduction. Guys, the kind of brief I have been getting, team has given a sense on how we today read online businesses and how can we improve it from the basics to, going it star rocket. And to do that, while we will initially start with slight basics on it, but however, you will figure out on why, and we will talk about why and what's of it. I would appreciate in case any of you wants to speak up, and it's more of an interactive section than a one monologue to make it much more better. Okay, so starting from the online businesses, essentially, if you would think about an online businesses and why an online business in India, first of all, India as a country in 2014 was operating to a metrics of less than a 15% of online businesses compared to the overall business being done in India. And you would have seen that in the last 6 years, thanks to Reliance, to make it much more accessible on an internet consumption out in India, our internet users in India have increased by 15x compared to the last 5 years, and which has led to a scene of how more involved and people have moved around on exploring the products much more on e-commerce and hence ended up buying it on it as well. There are reasons on why people are buying it and not buying it. First is convenience. Second is assortment availability. And much more than that, you are able to access and evaluate much more content than ever before you could have possibly been doing, which is not possible in retail because it's a slightly cluttered market. Not you will have all the choices in the world to choose from, and hence we are living in an era when in the next 10 to 15 years you would see that the ratio of or a contribution of online purchases in India, and I'm more talking from the beauty and not beauty and personal care, but rather a consumer business, a consumption pattern which is currently 30%, is expected to skew itself by 2030 to approximately a 65 to 70% online, which makes it very more important for us as MBAs and marketers to focus much more and understand on why it is happening this way. How I would like to start with business models on when you exactly look at a company, what all channels can it literally sell? Obviously, it comes like e-commerce and a offline channel. When it comes to the offline channels, you have GT, the structured GTs along with the beauty assistants or kind of sales executives trying to guide you out in there. Then comes a plethora of unstructured GT, wherein you will have bigger and smaller outlets out in India. More rural you go, more unstructured GT out is in there, and hence your dependency on distribution is much higher than anything else. And there comes the e-commerce trying to solve the problem out in here for discoverability of all the brands, not even the giants, but even the smaller ones, and you would see the disruption which is being done in India is because of that. This can be done in two fashions. It can either be done through your own website, which we call direct to consumer, the D2C space, as well as on the marketplaces like Amazon, Flipkart, Myntra of the world. Now, when you talk about the D2C space, and a company has to always choose between, do I need to do my D2C channel? I don't need to. If I'm doing, how big the scale is it? And if there is a scale, where should I stop it? There has to be a reason when the marketplaces like Amazon, Myntra, also now the quick commerce of the world, which can deliver in 10 to 15 minutes at our places, there has to be reasons of existence why a D2C is there, which essentially can be that it gives you a long tail SKU availability and exposure, and you can go as deep as you can. At the same point in time, also the authenticity and extra consumer serviceability as such. So we'll talk on point on what are the major pillars, how people decide on whether I should have my own direct to D2C channel or a marketplace. In a D2C channel, you need to do your own traffic generation. So when it all depends on the stage of the brand I am right now. So for instance, I am at a very initial stage of my business, and I've just literally started and my brand is not much more known. I need an awareness. My Reliability is much more on marketplaces because the initial traffic generation is their headache on their portal. Wherein it comes to the medium, slightly more known brands where awareness stage and awareness is much there in the people search on their names, as well as the bigger brands, they always like to have their own D2C channel as well. Well, their traffic generation is their headache out in there, but when they go to YouTube and Meta, right, they get that much of a attraction and click as well because people know them by their name and they come to their websites for the authenticity and plethora of options to be available out in there. Now, when it comes to performance marketing, so let us see on how performance marketing is different in a direct to customer channel and a marketplaces. In case of a D2C channel, you have to, while you're doing your traffic generation and your entire focus is on your own brand, you have to incur a lot of performance marketing. Now, how does it happen? A big section of it goes to YouTube and Meta to figure out the consumers and bringing around. There are certain portals like Amazon as well, which gives an option to go and ask if they can run this campaign on the audience sitting in Amazon, because more than 70% of India's online buying population is basically a Prime member. And these guys also, surprisingly and not much aware to the public at large, do these services called as DSP, wherein you can run your branded ads on their channel and those ad channels traffic can be diverted to your direct to consumers. Now, in this place, somebody might ask, why will Amazon do it? It's not because they are not able to sell or why are they breaking their own business, but it is more because they're trying to monetize their advertising channel as a different additional revenue generation activity. When it comes to marketplaces, right now, there is a lot of fight. You're always fighting between, I should get much more share of visibility because more in front of eyes, more in my cart, more the revenue generation. And hence you are fighting with plethora of brands around there to kind of end up giving you some slots wherein, say, what's my share of voice, if my market share is 5%, hey, I want bare minimum 5% kind of a share of voice and I should be visible on the places across, wherein there are different ways where you can be available and we'll talk about it. The third thing which comes across is website hosting. Obviously, website hosting is a very taxing cost. People feel that you just made the website and be done with. But in addition to that, there's a huge content team which is always creating those banners, contents, etc. And there's a big tech team which is there and behind to make it running. Now, why do you do this all and take so much of a pain is because once you have your own website, the entire SOV, the 100% thing belongs to your brand. The customization to the way offers, banners, what constructs we can run is there in the hands of brand. And that's why people take so much of a pain on hosting their own websites. While the same thing on marketplaces is basically, while you're not hosting the website, you're basically fighting and requesting your peers out there and your partners out there to give you as much as SOV and as much as effective assets as they can to you. And obviously, in case of D2C channels, there is no commission cost, but the cost is otherwise on running the D2C, where in marketplaces, you have to end up paying a commission, which becomes a cost on your P&L. So there is always a break-even analysis anyone will do on at what scale the D2C will become profitable, because I have to take care of my fixed costs and the profitability comes at a scale of business. However, because there is no commission, it slightly is the positive side if your business is scaled. In case of marketplaces, now even the scaled brands cannot avoid marketplaces because almost 90% of the entire revenue generation, the sales which happens on the marketplaces, and only 10%, which is also a slightly higher number thanks to the startups coming in picture. That's how marketplaces are unavoidable partners for you, and you have more of a variable component cost with them generally, except the marketing cost, because marketing is aligned on a semi variable cost model wherein You end up taking the month's packages depending on your size, and you can also choose to be more variable front. And hence, on operating on marketplaces, your cost unit metrics is always more skewed towards variable, which also makes sense when you are a smaller business. So these are the ifs and buts we consider while figuring out business models. While we have spoken in detail on D2C, we would be focusing furthermore on the marketplaces channel. Now, it's very important to think, and while you are able to see only pointers here, but we will talk in detail about why each pointer is very relevant. And let's imagine a kind of marketplace where you are trying to sell. So before moving to all of it, once somebody has to go and understand their customer on what kind of a product and come up with a product market fit, right? So first question is like, whom you want to sell. You know your target group in a sense of what's their age demographics. More than that, what's their spends demographic. On the top of it, where are they really situated geographically? Because when you're selling online, it is much more important to know the presence of your consumer geographically. That's how you will ensure that your products are also available to service at the lowest time possible. And hence, it's very important to know on your TG and their presence everywhere. For the thing and the most crucial thing which is required to be known for your target group is that what's their spend pattern, where the need of this product gets triggered. Is it a necessity item? Is it an impulse item? Or is it something which I have been not really desiring, but it's a luxury, and it just enticed me at very right time. So for example, if it's a necessity item, people might be going to more of the places where they believe that the pricing is very competitive enough and they're able to save money, provided your TG is price sensitive. In case of an impulse purchase, say for example, hey, I have a farewell in my office today, and I have to give gift to someone. I just open my app, a quick com, and just quickly figure out a gift, order, and I have it in 10 minutes with me. Now it's an impulse purchase, which will help me land to those kind of portals where that purchase is being triggered. And say for example, the third thing is it a luxury? Like I want to, for example, have a very unique watch and of Tommy, and possibly it's not available anywhere, but it's available in Tata Click. So I need to figure out on whom to sell, where are those guys actually available, and what is the point when it is getting triggered. Because the time frame of triggering of your need till the time frame of conversion of it, the cycle is very small, given everyone is trying to get your mind share. Today, for example, it's Women's Day. Everyone is fighting for your 30 seconds today, just possibly to land you up with some offer or some brand recall or something else. Well, you are so much crowded, everyone. Your possibly the conversion cycle or your dropout is not more than 10-15 minutes, frankly, to figure out where to go and where to be available, and hence whom to sell is very important. Once we know our TG and what is triggering their need, we will figure out where to sell. Obviously, we will speak in detail about the portals and how to find the right portal hosting your TG and how to actually end up selling to them. Coming to what to sell. Now, this is a very important thing on right assortment. Though we always say right price, right place, right product, but what is right product? And in e-commerce, it is crucial to know the right assortment out in there for the portal. So for example, I am into an apparel business, and I cater to even a mass and masstige. I might have to have my mass products entirely on Meesho, because my tier 2, tier 3 people who are looking for my mass products are actually sitting on that. And wherein, for example, in Amazon, I might have a must-teach one. And when I move to possibly a Nykaa, I might have a slightly premium version of my premium assortment of my entire brand. So right assortment is not that a right assortment of a brand. I need to have a matrix of my TG available on the portal across the assortment which is sitting on that table, and when the fourth thing also has to live in between the pricing of it. So now when we have figured out on the right assortment, say for example, I'm trying to sell ice cream chunks. So for example, by Baskin and Robbins, you will see all of them are majorly available on the minutes given the kind of industry it is. But I know that somebody will generally need something and I'm doing a product. I have to do a product innovation and I come up with a Baskin and Robbins rocks for that instance, wherein people can quickly order it, which might have a lot of units and you just can simply take a bite. Now it's all about, is it the right assortment for possibly a Zepto or a Blinkit? Maybe yes, because hey, I want to have a party in 10 minutes and I want to gather a lot of people. Can I really host that up? So the product innovation is again the need of our. Now, obviously, when you say right assortment, there in your entire portal journey, when it comes to, are you able to sell your products across? Will you be able to win the market share? Can you be the number one market share in any portal despite you being say number five or number six in the market? It all depends on your relationship with your portal person with you, and your Spock in the portal is the most crucial guy. These guys will help you figure out on where is the white spaces. It's about a win-win. I want to increase my revenue. The other person also wants to increase their business share inside the portal. And when we are trying to solve the win-win, it comes to figuring out the white spaces on what are people searching on those portals, some keywords being searched and no products to go for, or possibly there are high number of searches but moderate competition, or possibly people are searching and then figuring out that they are only buying the quality product out in there and leaving out the mass products, but there are more mass products. For instance, if you talk about a nail art kit, right? Now, people do not want to literally go for buying a lot of nail paints. Even in US, you will figure out that the stickable nails market has actually crossed the normal nail paint market. Now, it's again an innovation. Why? Because people do not have enough time to possibly go to a nail spa and do it. But it can premiumize my entire lot while 90% of the world is selling nail paint. Can I come up with a very great product on the nail art kit? Or possibly talking about earbuds. Now, today, if you will feel that earbuds, it's extremely flooded. Everyone has all price points, all earbuds. But can you think 3 years before how Boat could actually get in all of these and could really literally make it available? This has been a result of a very deep relationship with your portal spa, where while they have figured out the right product fit and possibly at a half price of what other people were selling at back then, it is very difficult to possibly defeat a boat today on a Flipkart. Flipkart and boat go really deep hand in hand. Boat has the highest sales on Flipkart. Now, how does it work out? It works out because you are doing a lot of integration and you're trying to figure out, can I make something customized and specialized for the event? Can I celebrate a moment with you? And hence the right assortment is not a very standard thing for the entire brand. It becomes like you are trying to get in the life cycle of the consumer. What moments can I step in with those guys? Can I celebrate a Holi versus a Women's Day versus a Valentine's Day? How can I move from quickly a gifting portal to possibly a skincare portal to possibly a chic apparel portal quickly, right? And that's where your assortment has to have that agility and has to figure out on what is that white space which is there on your portal, which possibly you can tap in and nobody's tapping into. Special thing is on what price. Now, if you would see the marketing front of it, there are three sections to it. One is the top funnel, mid funnel, and bottom funnel. We all study it in the classes, but let's apply it in the reality. What is a top funnel marketing when it comes to e-commerce? It's about, are people coming organically and searching for your brand? Maybe yes. If it is not, are you like able to create enough virality around it? And now I'm trying to talk about virality. Is it basically the factor of me integrating, for example, Lakme integrated, for example, Maybelline integrated along with Zepto to create entire virality campaign on Teddy Tint. Now, again, when you talk about it, it's two social media platforms coming together and two brands coming together to give a very strong narrative on the brand fix on how both are them are existing together while solving a consumer need, if not a problem per se. The pricing of that product and the place it is advertised, it's very important. So while the world might be selling a product at 499, I'm also selling the product at 499. Either my product has such a uniqueness which people need hydration all day, and somebody came up with a nutrient infused drink to have 3 sachets and 300 bucks. Very costly, non-existent, but available at the right place. So pricing strategy is not about always being competitive pricing along with the other brands. It is also considering, is my consumer's trigger is urgency, or is my consumer's a trigger is basically a luxury, or it is a necessity. Now, where to be visible, and while we were talking about it's a consumer you can touch in a lot of places during their journey. When the journey starts from not basically being on the portal itself, while possibly browsing a lot of social media content. Today I came across a lot of influencers talking about a particular product. Say for example, boat came with a HP product. Now it's a collaboration between two brands, and is it being shown to the right people? Now I am the right person, that's why possibly it came across to me. It's somewhere sitting in my mind, and while the journey of consumer and tapping it is not very straightforward from A to B, it is basically a haywire process. On a consumer will be figuring out and coming across the product at multiple touch points. A lot of places in the beginning it is more sold as a concept and not as a product, and slowly when the person is trying to show the interest in it, you target the search people based on their past searches and history, and keep on showing them those kind of contents. While they are being engaged and they have come on a portal, half the journey has already been done, because there is some interest on the kind of product. Now when it is an interest on the kind of product, the discoverability on the portal will be more search based. They will come search a keyword and possibly land to those kind of products, wherein in case the person would have come to buy something from a category per se, the interest would have been more on being available on top of the funnel. That am I visible enough in banners? Am I being the top most sponsored products appearing on the top? Like you search the keyword and I am the first, second, or the third product being appearing to come in the consideration set of people. Because in the first scroll on a search based platform, there is 90% of audience after the by the end of the first scroll, which reduces to 65 in the second page. When it comes to third page, you end up actually leading to 45%, and fourth and fifth are almost minimal, which means that it's much important to be on the consideration set and as organically cross inorganically on the top of it. So we have to figure out on whether my consumer or my brand basically is in awareness phase. If yes, I will be more on the top of the funnel, creating a lot of traffic generation, virality campaigns to let people know more about my product and letting them it hooked in their mind. Wherein if the brand is much more known, possibly I will try to figure them out when they're browsing on the platform and my banner possibly pops in, or my ad product possibly pops in, or possibly that there has been an integration with the portal and we have together done enough efforts to make it organically so on the top. One of the very important factor to have least ROAS and least cost implication while selling that particular product, leading to obviously profitability. Now, very important, we've been talking about it. I think this is the section we will spend the most of the time, and this is the most important and crucial activity to know on choosing the right portal. Now you would see that there are three kind of portals. First is the horizontal players, which really literally sells A to Z of everything. But you will figure out that there are still reasons why three of them exist and why it is not consolidated into one. The second one are obviously vertical or specialized players. The third ones are more of a quick commerce, a different ball game together. Now let's talk about why somebody should and when should they choose Amazon. It's all important to know what TG are they catering to. Now let's slice and dice it more. By TG, we mean what tier are the people sitting at? What price point people are sitting at? Are they having more of students, or they are having more of working people, or they're having more of tier 1 people, or they are possibly only having tier 3 people? What is the average price point of that particular portal, which we call AOV? What is the average order value? It might be combination of multiple categories being bought together, or possibly a single category. We also need to know what category is highly penetrated where. Now, it can be a factor of two things. Either the portal has not focused enough or on making the portfolio, or possibly didn't advertise or give the discoverability enough to those categories and it's not existing, or possibly that the TJ doesn't even want them. And when we keep on looking on all of these portals and try to understand, we will figure out that when I am selling, say for instance, I am selling cornetto ice cream, where should I be? And none of it makes sense. Possibly a quick commerce makes sense because I need to have the functionality to deliver it in a proper refrigerated environment. And it is a very impulse need. I need an ice cream. I might not need it 30 minutes later. Hence, I can't order it on a portal which is not able to deliver me right in time. At the same point in time, hey, I need a blazer. Do I need to only go for Zepto? Maybe not. Maybe I need a lot of assortment and to be explored across, and it's a matter of choice. And what matters is the depth of portfolio out in there. We might end up going to a vertical player like a Myntra and Ajio, or we can also go to a horizontal player like an Amazon, which might end up giving me that kind of a brand assortment need in obviously not an indefinite time to supply. But yes, it's not an impulse need, but it's a necessity for me. So let's go portal by portal and try understanding on imagining Amazon for the moment. Amazon's feature basically has a very high kind of a people TG, which is sitting in a tier 1 and a tier 2. And what they're trying to do is increasing their tier 2 pretty more and adding tier 3 in the game, because while we rightly spoken in the beginning, around 70% of the people shopping in India are onboarded on Amazon some or the other way, with majority of them being the Prime members because of its own benefits on lower or possibly nil delivery charges depending on products to products and preferences. A person and a brand can be on Amazon for certain reasons. First, if a brand is small, Amazon is a marketplace wherein any smallest of the brands can also go in and keep on doing and deploying the ad channel very effectively and target the audience. It's a portal which allows cross integration and collaboration in a very effective manner. All you need to do is figure out what a consumer is buying with what. So for instance, if you as a person can know what is my alternate purchase behavior, say if I have searched for my product, say I want to buy a water bottle and I search for it, and while nobody's coming on my brand Borosil, but rather actually going to other brands, and I want to understand that when they have searched for me or possibly has seen me, what are the products they ended up literally buying. Now This is a thing which is possible. The second thing which is possible is understanding your basket. So people who are buying a water bottle are also buying XYZ categories. And how about why this is all about creative marketing out in there. The need is not that I will always keep on advertising a bottle in a bottle section. I can figure out on what are the top three categories which are being advertised and which are being bought along with the water bottle, and possibly I'll go and try advertising it there because my consumer is sitting there and they might end up landing it. Again, where to capture in consumer journey and how smart can you be? That's all about winning in the e-commerce. The other kind of examples can be that, hey, I want to possibly I'm not in a position to have my products at my own end. I want to, can I keep it in your warehouse? Yes, you can, by paying a very small price. Can you also take care of my logistics? Yes, I can, literally. Scheme is being, the model is being called as FBA or FBF, say for instance, fulfilled by Amazon or fulfilled by Flipkart, wherein a smallest of the brands can also go there, have the functionality to sell, and just focus on targeting the right audience and having the right product and pricing, while outsourcing the logistics capability and warehousing capability along with packaging and everything to Amazon and Flipkart, or possibly for that matter Myntra, etc. Coming to Meesho. Now, what is the difference between an Amazon, Flipkart, and Meesho? While Amazon has a higher focus from a tier 1 and tier 2 and has, say, a very spread 4 event Prime Day thing which happens across the year, and they keep on capturing and have the capability of cross-functional uh, advertising. When it comes to Flipkart, they are the portal which have the most hold in the tier 2 and tier 3. And when it is about serving to rural India, because that's where the additional incremental growth in the online business is happening. This is one of the portal where who has already the first mover advantage out in there, coming up with Flipkart Minutes, while Quick Commerce is trying to have the 10 minutes delivery model in tier 1. Flipkart is literally trying to do it in tier 2 and in future thinking to do it in tier 3 as well, because they have the infrastructure already available out in there. From the targeting of consumer capability, it's not as deep as Amazon, like go any cross category and get any data and do any TG cut, but Flipkart has its own merits. The kind of run rate and the focus on the categories like electronics, they beat any other portal across. And hence it again becomes a category play on where your category concentration is, while Amazon has a bit more uh, mix around when it comes to different categories. Coming on Meesho now, when Amazon and Flipkart were existing for so many years, what happens and what makes even Meesho giving a chance to exist across? The real thing is the classification is not only T1, T2, T3, the classification is on the spending pattern and the kind of assortment you're looking in. Meesho houses to a lot of people who are looking for a low AOV product, but a lot of options to choose from, which was not being offered by any other portal. And Meesho came in onboarding all of those guys who are there in the tier 2 and tier 3 system to come collaborate, do their business on Meesho, possibly even buy from Meesho wholesale channel and sell on Meesho platform, because they operate on both of the thing. Now, this particular portal is catering to the T2 and T3 people who are looking at a lower AOV model, whereas in Amazon and Flipkart possibly are catering to the tier 2 people but having a higher AOV model. Vertical players. Now, when an Amazon was existing, how come Nykaa could come across so far? It is majorly focused on beauty followed by fashion, but the real thing out in here is the authenticity, which people trust that all the Nykaa products are authentic because they're directly bought by brand, and there is no possibility of any fake product ever landing in their hand. That's the kind of barrier which consumers have when it was about to adopt possibly beauty across online channels, and they were only fixated to offline, and Nykaa came and filled in that. It's again the positioning on purple. Now, why purple could parallelly exist is that Nika, in this sense, is catering to a much more premium kind of a proposition, wherein purple is again who catering to people with a and spoiling them with a lot of options in a slightly lower price point. And hence, similarly, we have Myntra. It's a specialized player focused on fashion followed by beauty. Coming to quick commerce, convenience spoil, and that's the reason today you would see the highest growth which we ever see in any portal is quick commerce. You would see Zepto growing like anything today for, and so is Blinkit and Swiggy. They have been in a very beautiful journey, which I don't know when we will be able to see this kind of a disruption across in the country on getting products in 10 minutes. Now, imagine, sounds very amazing, right? Getting products in 10 minutes. Now, as a brand, should I be there? It all depends again on what is the trigger need for my people. If it is the impulse behavior, yes, I should definitely do it right away. However, in case if it is not impulse, quick commerce has a very deep supply chain. It has to possibly divide their warehouses into n number of sections, even in a particular city, which means that you can never have a deep assortment out in there, and a company has to be very, very skeptical about what portfolio am I literally launching it out there. And hence, while Zepto, Blinkit, and Swiggy can really rock, it is a very agile assortment game and a pricing game. And possibly, I cannot have a product lying in a dark store for a pretty long time because my consumer is possibly ordering from North Delhi, but I have to service in South Delhi. The logistics will not support all of it. And a lot of meticulous planning which comes across operations, and that's where quick commerce has a bit of a game out here, ups and downs. There, while figuring out what price point, what portal, and everything, and we have landed and we have arrived, we possibly got ourselves listed. What is that which will keep helping me being excelling every time? And what are the metrics which, as a brand, you always have to be on the top of it? The first one is obviously the availability. When a person is ordering the product somewhere, the product should be available in the least possible time to be furnished. Now, when you are doing the fulfillment, if I'm ordering something on possibly a Flipkart today and it is getting delivered in 7 days, hey, will my customer literally wait till 7 days? Maybe that he'll forget about ordering about it on a COD model and he will cancel it. Cancellations are one of the biggest cost which a brand bears, because you have done the entire jing bang on doing all the discoverability, the advertisement, having your product there, even person ordered it, and the logistics cost has also been incurred when it arrives at the doorstep. Possibly the mode of consumer has changed and they're like, I really do not need it anymore. And hence, availability is one of the most important, might be overlooked, but a brand cannot afford to overlook it. It has to be a meticulous regional level or a city level planning, depending on the kind of model, a supply chain model which the portal has to be tagged with a quarterly joint forecasting. Now, the forecasting has to be done along with the operations team of others. It has to be tracked every week on where are we lying across. Is there any city when my availability compared to the order is pretty high? Other metrics can be, is my OOS percentage too pretty high? Because my right assortment has to be there. Now, not all assortments can be there all the time. But then it comes to hero SKUs. Every time, every place in life, Pareto applies. And always the 20% of the SKUs are literally contributing to 70% of the revenue in case of e-com. And those are the products which should never be OS in this situation. And this is a sacrosanct thing which needs to be followed. And hence availability becomes one of the most important metric, because a cancellation can make your P&L bleeding like anything. The content quality now, see, there is no one who is there to advocate your product out in here, and it's all about how beautifully or possibly to the point you have described your product. It comes to the product title, it has to be very uh, to the point on what keywords are people searching. Your product description needs to have those right keywords being searched from the people, because that embedding will only help you get the organic push, and hence it will help you get the kind of better shift or movement towards less paid dependency. There has the images has to make you feel like I'm looking it as if the products are out there for me, with along with the textures and feel, and the look and feel needs to be renewed very often out in there. Now it comes to discoverability. So very bigger thing to know is that while my brand might be known to people, say for instance, we all know Godrej, but are you thinking about Godrej when you are actually looking for a shampoo or a hand soap? Godrej has products out in there. Maybe that, are you thinking of a particular shampoo, say a L'Oreal, while there are hundreds of shampoo. So, although the brand might be known a lot, the discoverability and bringing out the virality has to be very often, and it comes with a lot of things. It has to be an exclusive collaboration. That's one more to go for it. There can be a lot of paid products, let's say a banner versus a sponsored product versus a DSP, like we discussed. And the most important thing is the virality generation. So, for instance, you will figure out that there is a brand called as Zoop. Now, when Kriti Sanon comes on board on it, right, literally, and starts posting about it, there is a lot of virality generation because possibly the product is unique. But when it comes by a class influencer or a celeb, and the content is churned out at a very predefined frequency, like every week there is a content going on, so that it's there in the back of people's mind and the consideration set, and which will help me increase my brand awareness and the selection on it. Now these are the execution metrics and three literal pillars which people have to be on the toes while they have figured out the GTM on the portal and keep on churning and growing the businesses. I'll try giving a case study of Go Zero. So Go Zero as a brand, and it's also showing the power of, if the execution is very to the point, how does it happen? This particular brand is launched 2 years back. The founder is ex Upsra Ice Cream. Now, if you will know, the innovation is that they're getting in the almost minimal sugar or no sugar kind of ice creams. When it comes to figuring out the explorability, there were two ways for the company to go for a retail or an online, and they chose online. Also, in online, the quick commerce rise helped them really well. This particular brand was doing a 60 lakh revenue in 2023 in 90 days. This brand was doing the same revenue last year in 30 days. And in this time, the same revenue has been done in 2 days. Now it's the matter of execution, the GTM, also the SOV, and at the same point of time, what is the trigger, the impulse of my brand, my consumer, and the relationship which you build with the portal. And this is one of the little case study, but we can possibly look a lot of them across in here. But if all these metrics are being figured out right and are being done repetitively, possibly a lot of wonders can happen on e-commerce. And with this journey of 30 to 70% going across, we have a lot more to gain in terms of SOV, because this is the only time possibly when any brand can come and capture a very bigger market share and possibly defeat a already set brand together. And it's a never before opportunity we should take the benefit of. I think, Niharika, I'm good with it unless people have questions.
We open the floor for any questions, if anybody has any questions.
Vaishali, am I audible?
Yes.
Great. So I'm from PGP1. So I wanted to ask that how do you measure the effectiveness of the strategies? Like influencer marketing is one, then you have collaborations, keyword embedding and others. So how can I measure the effectiveness with respect to different categories and different scales of the organizations?
So, imagining the fact that you're a new budding brand, and I would talk about this way, or possibly even if you're established brand but having a very lesser online share, right? The biggest thing somebody looks at it is that, let's for say example, the first question to ask is, and it's all about asking the questions, what is your market share generally? I would say possibly that my market share is 5% across, right? And now when it is 5%, what is your market share on this particular portal? I would say, hey, it's only 2%. Okay, let's then go deep dive and try figuring out the reason on why and what level is the market share falling. First of all, we will try to see what is my share of voice, right? Organically. That is, are the people coming and searching me on the portal? And I'm doing this assuming that the portals is a right fitment for my product and my consumer availability, right? It comes across that possibly the organic searches are 7%. Okay, great. Then the my market share should have been not 2%, but on a higher front. What's next? So we see that when people go to the PDP page, which is product display pages, they are possibly dropping off. And that's another question. Okay, why are they dropping off? Possibly because the right assortment which they are looking is not there, A, or the pricing is not there, B. Okay. Now coming on the fact, another example when the SOV on the page is basically 2%, wherein the market share across overall for the brand is 5%. Maybe that organic generation is not enough. A, people are not aware that the brand exists, or B, the people are really not looking for the brand out on this particular portal. And if it is an awareness problem, we try running the top of searches and top banners to let people know, or possibly some integration uh, like Zepto has done with Manyavar, that hey, I'm available on Zepto, and you would not have even thought of searching Manyavar on Zepto, but now you know, and then you will search for it. So we will always look at the funnel on where is my percentage dropping. Is the input lesser? And thanks to e-commerce portals, you will be able to get the data at all the points, possibly on how many people landed to your page organically or paid, how many people who landed to your page literally, went to add to the discover the products, how many people literally dropped off at product discoverability or literally added to cart. Now if someone has added to cart and dropped off, this means that possibly they have found a better pricing somewhere else. So every step when people are falling, there's a pain point. We just need to keep on reading the data and identify and keep on shooting it. Hope this answers your question.
Thanks, Vaishali. Thanks a lot.
Harshit?
Yes. Hi, Vaishali. So, my question is like, what are the common mistakes which businesses might make, like when they're choosing between horizontal players, vertical players, and quick commerce platforms?
The major mistake a lot of brands feel that, hey, I should be available everywhere with all the products. Now that's a mistake, because taking a step down and try to explain you on, there are two kind of models portals operate at. One is called as outright model, which means essentially that I have listed 100 SKUs on your platform. You are buying those SKUs based on the order expectation and keeping it with you, right? So whenever somebody is buying and keeping it with them, they will not be going with entire assortment, but only the assortment they both of the company and the brand, literally feel it is right. And the assortment depth will not be that great. Now the other thing is that model is called as marketplace model, wherein basically SOR, wherein you list products and you are the seller. So you go on Flipkart and list yourself, and you are figuring out your products on how many to list, where to get it delivered. You can get it delivered via outsourced thing through them also. And there you can have a lot of assortment. Mistakes are being done on the front of first assortment choice. They do not have the right products at the places. Either they go on, let me list everything. You have to do the activity of figuring out what price point works, what are the keyword search on the portal, and possibly then decide on, this is the set of products I will be listing on A versus B versus C. The second thing which happens is that you will always when you come into the e-commerce platform ecosystem, you will realize that, every portal wants to be on a competitive price. So a lot of brands get onboarded on the portals mentioning that we will give you the most competitive price, which means that if there is a price breach or a price at one portal, the other one will match. Right. And if someone is not matching, as a consumer, I searched first on Myntra and then I searched possibly on Flipkart, and I got a deeper price on Flipkart, and I will actually move to Flipkart. So here now, this is something which is unavoidable, but you have to understand not every product is the hero product for portal. So company has to start thinking it of a 7 and 8 BUs, right? That on Flipkart, the kind of TG who is looking is like 350 is the price point I want to buy and not beyond. And when it is that kind of a price point, I should not actually list or advertise the products which are 800 bucks. I should find it on some other portal where my TG discovering that level of price point product is there. Having said this, if suppose someday, even by a technical mistake on a portal, say Flipkart, which is not supposed to have a 700 rupee product, has a tech issue and has a very deep discount, I will have a conversion issue on the portal where it should literally be selling like rocket. And hence, it's important to figure out a assortment strategy for each portal, thinking it's a separate business while you're a same brand. Understand it's about brand cross TG, which is available on the portal, and not the brand cross brand TG. That's the reason we might possibly available on 7 portals and not on only one.
Makes sense. Yes, that answers my question. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Shreya?
Hi, Vaishali. Thank you for the talk. And I really liked how you captured the nuances between Amazon, Flipkart, and Meesho and their different tiered models. But I was wondering that how can, other businesses who are not very much in the mainstream, how can they adapt to these changing business trends? Because I'm sure they don't have the network effect advantage which these other players have. So what can they do to sustain?
See, when talking about an offline versus online environment, Shreya, it's difficult to go in the offline environment without a network or a scale. When it comes to online environment, we spoke about two kind of models, outright and a marketplace, that is a sale or return model, wherein in a kind of marketplace model, you are seller listed on a platform and platform is just enabling you being listed out there. This is kind of a democratization of listing your products and trying to sell to the people. Any smallest of the brands today can list on these portals on a marketplace model, right? Wherein you might not have the kind of negotiation power with the portal, but they enable you to run your own ads, dissect your own TG, and show it to the right people. And this is the reason where the lesser known brands are possibly coming up the radar and eating a much more market share than possible. So literally the bigger brands, although they have scale and teams, sometimes struggle because the smaller brands come up with much more unique product concepts and are going to the right TG. It's all about how smart we can to create those viralities, because so much of social media content bombarding, you have to stand out in some or the other fashion.
Right. I think that gives me some clarity.
That brings us to the end of the talk. Thank you everyone for being a part of the talk. On behalf of the Alumni Committee, I would like to thank Vaishali for taking out time from her schedule, that too on a Saturday for us. We are grateful for your insights and we will certainly gain from them. I would also like to thank the Alumni Chair Affairs, Professor Prabin Panigrahi, for his guidance and support, and also the Alumni Office, whose efforts made this talk a possibility. Finally, a big thank you to the audience for their enthusiasm and engagement. We look forward to seeing you at our next session as well.
Thank you so much, team, for having it in such a beautiful fashion. It has been seamless, and I feel really proud to come back to my alma mater and contribute in any way. In case of any questions, you can always reach out offline. So please feel free. Happy to help.
Thank you, Vaishali, and wish you a very happy Women's Day.
Same to you.